Okay, welcome back,
I just
everybody.
need to pin Sarah, please. Otherwise, it will go onto the live stream.
You need what? Sorry,
I need to pin us just so it doesn't show other people. 1 second.
Okay. Wonderful. Welcome back. Welcome back. I popped into room 2, some really interesting conversations going on in there, and I'm sorry. It's hard, right, when we've got an hour together, and I'm sure that we could have had a lot longer to discuss and reflect today. So thank you for what you managed to achieve in the breakout rooms, and you've got those scenarios in your handbooks, so do go back to those and look back at those and look at some of the scenarios that come up, I'm sure, that resonate with us, and look at the strategies suggested there about why it matters, why it's important to raise these when we come across them, and also how to challenge them. So we're just going to start our kind of process of wrapping up now, firstly just by bringing together some of the strategies that we can use to combat bias when we see it. And then secondly, to think about an action that we're each going to commit to as we leave today. So when bias occurs, as those scenarios suggest, there are different ways in which we can respond. Some of them you will have touched on today in your discussion, and some of them maybe come back to the scenarios in the handbook and reflect on those. But these are concrete things that we can do. So when we notice bias occurring, it really helps if we can speak up for somebody in that moment when we notice it, rather than just thinking, oh, walking away, pretending we haven't heard, not wanting to rock the boat. And I'm saying this is kind of my sort of go-to, to not want to kind of like, point things out. But actually we do have a responsibility when we know about this to speak up when somebody is experiencing bias, or to ask a probing question. So to ask a question, what's the evidence for that? Where's that come from? Something like that. To, again, a way of challenge. Sticking to the facts. So some of the education that we've had today, some of those stats about the fact that women are 3 times more likely to be interrupted in meetings than men, having some of those facts and statistics starts to add weight and authority for us when we are starting to challenge. And some of the scenarios that we've got there and some of the information that Rebecca gave us at the beginning about different types of biases help us to be able to explain and articulate how bias is in play. Because this is a process of education for all of us. And actually when we offer that, when we have that opportunity to share what we know, then we start to change the conversation. And then finally, to be the change makers, to put pressure on the organisations that either we work for or we are aligned with, to really advocate for policy or process change. Because again, when we've got this knowledge base, when we've got this education, we've got this experience, we then have a responsibility really to do something with that and to speak up when we notice bias occurring. So, not just today, International Women's Day is not just about what happens today. It's today, yes, that we're focusing on it, but it goes beyond today. Let's really make a commitment today to choosing to break the bias when we see it. Okay, so what we're going to ask you to do now is to take a minute to think about what your break the bias action for 2022 is. So as a result of today's session, what are you going to go away and do that will help you to start to challenge and break the bias? So I'm just going to be quiet for a minute, so you probably need a little minute to think about that. And then when you're ready to share, we'd really love you to either contribute in the chats or to unmute and tell us just in one sentence, what's your action as a result of today's session? Okay, brilliant. So Rebecca shared already. So Rebecca said, my Break the Bias one action for 2022 is to learn more about intersectional biases and the challenges those who experience this face. Fantastic, Rebecca. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. And what we'd really encourage you to do as well following today's session is to state that commitment publicly as well on social media. And we can use these hashtags, hashtag Break the Bias and hashtag IWD 2022, so that we can start to share that public commitments. Phyllis, I had just written on intersectional bias too, something I had not considered previously to a great degree. Great, Phyllis, thank you. Anna, you said you're going to ask probing questions to raise awareness where biases are evident. And Laura, my action is to use my Women Aloud platform to share women's experiences of bias and to raise awareness. Yeah, brilliant.
Okay. I like that one, Laura, because we've got a discussion later on with our two panelists, Angel Ashcroft and Anita Fagura, who again will be sharing their experiences, because I think it's about having these conversations. We call them catalyst conversations, conversations which start change, which start action as well, but conversations that inform and that are kind, and yeah, it's really important. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Louise, to get more understanding of intersectional bias. Yeah, brilliant goal. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Okay, and mine is definitely to make a commitment to continue to educate myself. So to get onto webinars, to get into discussions where people are talking about bias, and to learn more, because it's always a work in progress. Ellie, your action is to enable the younger generation to speak out too. Wonderful, so important, because that's where the change happens, right, isn't it, with our younger generation. And Michelle, to challenge and question when I see bias. I'm particularly keen to build on some of these facts in terms of how we are raising our children. Yes, absolutely. And we'll look at how these start early in our training within early years school with parents. Wonderful, Michelle, thank you. And that education at a young age is just incredibly powerful, isn't it? Yes, Ruth, call it out when people assume that motherhood is incompatible with career success, because we know that that's not the case, but we know that we do come up against lots of bias, lots of challenges in that respect. So fabulous, thank you. Okay, so Rebecca just mentioned we've got today, coming up later today, first of all, we've got a little break, and then we've got group coaching from 11:30 to 12 today. So if you've got something, or if you're curious about coaching, or you've got a little goal that you want to bring to us today, come and join us for group coaching, 11:30 to 12. And then at 12:10, we've got our first panel discussion with Angel. Angel has an amazing background as a woman in engineering, and she is going to talk about how she has challenged bias and built her resilience in that role. But also she's a mum and she's a business owner. She's very inspiring, so she's got lots of rich conversation to bring. And then later today at 12:40, we've got Anita Fagura, and she's going to be speaking about breaking through inclusive leadership. So Anita, again, has got a lot of experience in this area, a lot of value to bring, to talk about how we can create more inclusive leadership that will start to make an impact at organisational level as well. So really, really excited about that.
The great thing about these two women is not only are they business women, but they're also professionals in project management, and they've also got a really established career as well. So, and mothers. So not only do they have different hats on, you could say that they fit into the intersectionality as well, right? Being mothers and of colour and professional women as well. So if you are already signed up, if you're in the Zoom room with us, then just go back to the email and click on the same link that brought you here. If you are watching live over on YouTube or Facebook, then you want to join us in the Zoom room, then go to bit.ly/breaking the bias to get the link to the Zoom room. The group coaching will not be recorded, but the panel discussions will be recorded and streamed. And the reason why the group coaching will not be recorded is just so we can protect people's privacy and confidentiality as coaches. So we thank you very much. We are on time, Sarah. Look at this.
Rebecca,
That is a win.
Wonderful.
1 minute past, but yeah, who's going to beat us with a stick on
Absolutely.
that one?
Absolutely. Now, what I would love to see, if you are comfortable to, guys, I'd love to get a photo of us doing our Break the Bias pose so that we can share that. So I'm just going to stop the screen share. If you're not comfortable, if you don't want to be on camera, that's absolutely fine. But if we can just get you.
I love Mandy. Mandy's getting all ready.
Mandy's up for it. Fantastic.
Right. So we all know what this year's cross is. Yeah. Oh yes, everyone's ready. We've got it. How are we going to do this, Sarah? You're going to have to.
Well, that's a good question because I just realised I need my hands, right?
I'll get it over here. I'll do like 1x. Right. 1, 2, 3. Are ready, guys? Well done. Got it. Oh, I've got a note on here from Michelle. 1 second. Michelle came up. Right. No more chat messages for a second. Right, 1, 2, 3, go. Got it. Thank you, ladies.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being good sports. Michelle, no worries. Thanks so much for joining us. And I understand that you need to go.